What is shadow work and why should we do it? Well, basically, shadow work is working with your shadow self, integrating it in a healthy way into your daily life. The shadow self are things that we hide about ourselves, things that we dislike about ourselves, that we push deep down inside into the dark place that never see the light of day. We're like, you don't exist. We're going to pretend like it's not even there. And the bad thing about that is when you push things deep down inside, when you ignore and neglect, pretend like it's not around, it always comes up in a negative way, and it could make life harder for you. It could be some of the reasons why you always tend to do those self-destructive behaviors, why you're a little bit manipulative, why you're hypocritical, why some things aren't working out for you, which is why we bring our shadow self into the light and find a healthy way to work with it. Now, things get put inside our shadow self for a multitude of reasons. It could be because it was a safety thing. Growing up, we weren't allowed to do a certain thing, say a certain thing, act a certain way, or else it could potentially mess with our sense of safety. So we learn to hide it. We learn to suppress it. Or it could be a cultural, religion type thing where it was like, okay, you can't act a certain way, you can't do a certain thing, or society will view it as bad. Or it could just be someone said something bad about something you did once, and then you were like, I'm never doing that ever again because I don't want that kind of criticism. So we put it in our shadow self. And the interesting thing about the shadow self is it doesn't just have the bad things. Sometimes it has the good things too. It has your creative aspects. It has the way you communicate, the way you love, the way you cherish yourself. So there can be bad things in the shadow self along with a plethora of good things. So really shining some light onto those things and focusing on them could allow you to understand a lot about yourself. It should be noted though that the shadow self is very elusive. It doesn't want to be found. It doesn't want to be seen. You've spent so long trying to hide those parts of yourself that now it's gotten really, really good at not letting itself be seen. So when you start shadow work, when you start trying to identify your shadow, it can be really hard to make those first identities. Something that could really help you with trying to identify it is think about the people whom you're close to, think about the people who you have a real connection with, and notice some of the things that they do that irritate you, that make you mad, that really just get on your nerves. And then relate that to yourself. Think about how you do those same things in a certain aspect, and then ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I get upset when they do this? Where did this come from? And it'll help you learn a lot about yourself. Another way that you could potentially identify your shadow is pay attention to the voices that speak inside your head. Those voices that say, this is stupid, you're dumb, you're not good enough. And ask yourself, where did this come from? Like, who originally planted that thought in my head? Why do I think that? And you could also learn a lot about yourself that way and why you're limiting yourself. So there you go.